Like, it's swollen. It's so swollen right now.
Angry, furious.
If you're not going to beat them, run away!
Who do you think you are? Fight!
My God. Right, well, let's get you up to speed as we're going into our second of the ERANGELs. That's why we are commanding the hot drop. That's why we are begging for it to keep happening, because it was free for free yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if we go free for free again today, but let's find out. We got our playing path. Let's see if anything's going to drastically change this time around.
Pretty cheeky playing path, actually. Kind of nice overall for a lot of these teams. They're happy about it. It's not too horrible for anyone. I mean, for some of these teams getting over towards the POVCA maybe might be a bit harder. But for Pachinki, it goes directly above it. So you better get that drop out nice and early. Get down to the ground as fast as possible. I don't see Bra eSports still in the plane. So I have a feeling they're underneath the mucker teams that are currently on your screen. You got Gladiators heading back out towards South George. They had a bit of a better rotate last game, but I think they bit off more than they could chew. We got Loops heading back down towards I8 to cause some more problems, to cause some more ruckus, a bit more of a mess. They didn't do this last game, but they're pulling out the secret card once again, and I8 is not enjoying it.
Damn. Okay. It looks like finally for once we have a resolution blank. The brain cell has
Oh my God.
Yeah, bro, I've given it up. They're gone. DX, different way.
Cowardice!
DX at this point just going, we've done it, lads. We've won the whole land.
We've beat them. They're probably just laughing right now in their booth because they just feel so good about it. What an increase in confidence as well. Battling away one of the most stubborn teams in the lobby up towards Severny, no less, you know. They're out the picture now. They're off the backside of the map. This is just so sad for Bra eSport. But I'm also glad that the raging brain cell was put to rest, right? You know, it has been quelled, been quietened by this team because they desperately needed to make it happen. Mythic's down though, and I8 might be spoiling the Loops' day. Chief though, still in action.
For Loops, it'd be a bit upsetting if you go straight off the back of a chicken dinner into a 16th place finish. That is not what you want. Straight from the frying pan into the, I suppose, bigger frying pan that doesn't have any chicken into it in this instance. So we'll see if they can survive there. Yeah, pain pan. It's just full of nails.
Yeah,
not a very hearty meal.
Yeah, no oil either.
Yeah. Don't breathe that. That's nail dust.
Bad for you. Wouldn't recommend it. IQ though tries to head up towards that top side, but Cardozin got himself a nice little angle over towards the other side. Chief, surprisingly, still alive and being rezzed over towards Mythic. That's crazy. I can't believe they've allowed that to happen. They just cannot get control of these rooftops at the moment. I think Luke's played the correct hand, which is, look, if we have control of this top side, we're confident on our peaks, we're confident on our ability to spot out these players. They're constantly giving IA trouble.
Yeah, they are. The fact they've been able to reset this fight so cleanly, and now actually in terms of the positioning, you're not in a bad spot. You could still do something from this. It felt like I8 had good angles to shut this one down. At the very least, make it kind of irrecoverable for Loops in the early game, where they'd be forced to try and limp out of here with 1 or 2 survivors. Instead, getting Mythic back up, you can still play off the back of this. You've got a wide berth of players as well in terms of the angles now covered, all of them with high ground control. Ooh, this feels like the dominoes could tumble quite quickly here, Blank. So I8 need to be very smart with their decision making, especially if they want the flank from Blade to basically be the backstab. Ideally, you probably want to buddy up on this one. Try and play the duos because there's just so many angles watching you.
Yeah, it's difficult right now. UZM tries to even get through the building, is having a tough time of it. And I think that this fight is actually extremely important between both of these teams. With I8 actually having a semi-decent match at the start of the day, only to be taken down here on ERANGEL with one of our first potential Sosnovka finishes on the circle. That's going to be brutal for you. This is one of the times where you really desperately want to be a military team. Right now, they just cannot find any of these openings. Loops, though, taking it a little bit closer to them, grouped up towards this western building, looking to potentially take the fight to I8, who have all got themselves turtled up inside this building. One pump shotgun available. That might be the game changer, but in comes the nade.
It's Falak downstairs. Wow. Oh, I was expecting him to be first contact, but the nade is the opener. can opener, if you will, as it takes the top off quite cleanly. And now Mythic aggressing with it. Oh, he's going for the finish as well, trying to find the player that was knocked, shuts him down with one pump off the back of the shot. There's the readjustment from Falak as he'll swing, clearing out the corridor with a sweep. Oh, bit of a misplay though on the adjustment. Blank goes running through the door, turns tail, gets assaulted because of it. Cardozo now as well, re-aggressing into the hallway, gets the reload off on the DBS, has a good understanding of where everyone is and lands the flick on the repeak. How did that go so wrong so quickly?
Mate, Chief's little jump out the window was tremendous, bro. But to be fair, you saw two players. He checked the room, no one was in it, and the play right there was for him to maybe wait for it, but I didn't have too many options. Great peek up there coming through from Chief, getting them down in that situation. You've gotta love that coming through from Loops. What a orchestrated play in the heat of the moment, no less. And now Loops have control of a very, very nice bit of space of the map in accordance with this circle where most teams already are trying to barrel their way through to this South Island. No one's really thinking this is going to drop back up towards that northern side. It could, but most teams are looking to cement themselves down towards Sosnovka itself. Interesting start to the day, and Loops once again prove exactly why they're currently in second place, catching up to Stalwart.
Really cool fight there between the both of them. Different as well, different flavor considering the hot drops that we have been seeing on ERANGEL. You know, we've traded out the DX Bra eSport clash and we got a little Loops IA clash, which honestly, I'd take it. That was something different, mate. You know, that was kind of like the cayenne, maybe a little bit of garlic in there.
Yeah, and honestly, it really was like IA just became smoked that briefly. They certainly were smoked by the guys from Loops, just wielding some pretty heavy weaponry towards their way. Gladiators still yet to make their move. Mad Bull similarly also on the same trajectory. For Bra eSport, again, another pretty brutal game for them. Been forced up towards Severny, the furthest you could be from Sosnovka. Getting themselves down here, obviously, is a bit of a trek for them. They are rotating alongside Pasija Evos, but they've had to limit the amount of time they've had to loot here. Because remember, Circle was south to north, so although, again, there is a lot of loot in Severny, they were limited by the fact that the majority of their time would be in the plane, in the shoots, getting a little bit of time to loot. They see this circle, instantly they realize, look, we've got to start making our way down towards that south side. This is not going to be an easy game for us otherwise. But a lot of these areas are taken up. A lot of the bridges held out by one or two teams. It's going to be a bit of a struggle for some of these guys on the northern edge. Most likely might just want to post up to some of these important compounds that sit on the side of these bridges on that North Island.
Thing is for Bra eSport though, at least the one saving grace that is, although it's going to be uncomfortable and it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world for them, as you're basically having to fight for control of what is left already with a lot of the compounds being scavenged for, especially now with the zone moving across as well, making it an awful lot more awkward back over towards Sosnovka. It's really going to be a bit more uncomfortable for them. But at least, Blank, this is them playing out that longevity, playing out a smarter game in terms of the early rotation. So many times they tunnel visioned and then just got left in the dirt where they weren't able to do anything outside of the opening fight in Pachinki. They've had to adjust their game plan here, and that might bring up a bit more of a pep in their step. You'd hope. You'd hope. But we'll see how they handle it. We'll see what they can do. We know Bra eSports have an awful lot more to show us. We just haven't seen it over day one. Tiamba on screens here, though, and they are being crashed upon. Nades for days. Stereo frags could be coming our way as they just decimate with them. It looks like you should be able to pick off the numbers, but instead it's Tiamba that are eating the damage. It looked like it was well placed with a Molotov and the follow-up for the grenade, but hasn't really worked out too well. Unlucky as well on the back tap here. Oh man, Blank, this could have been a whole different fight.
Yeah, YDD almost gets his leg blown off his body, able to jump to the side just in time to get out of that nade range, but it still tickles him quite a bit here. But now Malice eSports all trapped inside this building. Nades for days available, but not many available. In fact, for Tiamba, with not a lot on board, just a stun grenade now in the hands of Lee. Maybe there's some more on the rest of the players that might be able to be used to good effect. This is down towards the south side of the island, but CEO later finds QZZ, and now they push out out from this building towards the backside, try and open up some more angles, and Tiamba feeling a little bit lost now. Their off angle in QZZ being down is a really horrific start for them. They lost a lot of info off the back of that, lad.
So rough, man. It felt like it really should have been a different encounter off the back of the way the initial crash went with the utility used, and especially with some of the shots they were landing. You're going to be kicking yourself that it's now fallen into a position where you feel like your confidence has been sapped a little bit. Oh, HP being ripped away, as well as the nade's going to open it up. Shrapnel all over the gaff. And everyone else is looking a whole lot more confident as Lewis and co lead the charge, clearing building to building. Contact found, bullets down range, just spamming across. Might bait them in, but it's just a Bizzard. He's pre-firing with the Bizzard, trying to do Maxman proud, but it's not happening here as he goes down.
Ren just gets rended by that weapon there. YDD slips down the side, but takes a huge amount of damage in the process. And Mali's make it look easy down towards the southern coast. Another quick rotation coming through from this team, allowing themselves to have a good start to this match. But Mad Bulls, look at this. The two EU brethren setting themselves up for failure at this point in time, but I think Mad Bulls still have a good opportunity to get across. Gladiators, you just got to hope they've got enough meds to weather this one out to the point where Mad Bulls realize that they too have to cross this bridge now. With this circle heading right down towards this south side, Mad Bull, the time isn't working with them right now, it's working against them. They need to get moving, but they'd love to pick themselves up a couple of eliminations in the process as Gladiators have to move across as well.
The battle on the bridges is going to be a big talking point for a lot of our teams here. Reject Tokyo as well, going to be barricading the exit for Bra Esport on the other bridge. This is the POV here. You can see they've got the setup. Two on top. Lufa down towards the wayside here, just playing on the outskirts, belly down on the ground, ready to basically act like a bit of a tripwire. You always love that angle up here as well that Jule's taken. So easy to take peeks from. You can lean around either side. Makes it a bit more uncomfortable to fire shots back onto you as well with that added height. Could be a big factor for Reject Tokyo. And we know, man, in these fights, Blank, it feels like they go full Hail Mary. They do not do anything by halves, does Reject Tokyo.
No, they commit to it, and you got to respect that from the Japanese team, is that they've got an idea, they want to play it out. It doesn't always work out the way they want it to, but they really do try and get it done to the best of their capability. And I think that's how you improve at the game as well, right? You know, you're playing at this high level of gameplay with all these teams. You have to commit to a play. If it doesn't work out, at least you've got mistakes that can be fixed out in future. Could jump out of the vehicle, tries to find some shots over towards Tospic, but Kane might be the prime target as he barrels his way across the bridge, but Reject just a little bit too slow on the trigger there.
Looks a bit disjointed. They couldn't hold their setup any longer, knowing the zone was coming in and wanting to prioritize survivability over the scrap. So they give up the positions they had, but they might have unknowingly ran into a squad that's been waiting for them. It's Evo's. Luxy first to fall. Zuxi bonneted as well. So the twins going down. Now you're going to be struggling to project yourself further into this one, but a sneaky maneuver from Redface. Couldn't quite prioritize the targets though. Baited by the vehicle as he'll be hitting the car rather than the player. And then it's slowed down, slammed to the ground as Julo will clash back onto it. And it is just misery. Looking to try and make a play from this one. Luxy at least could still help him, but it depends on the spacing. They're quite far away from one another. Luxy, he could be running straight into the crosshairs of the two right ahead of him. Regin Ocio jumps in a vehicle as well. Smoke's going up.
Some wild movement in the vehicles right now. Luxy goes down. And I think that practically all of these eliminations have just been by the vehicle's bonnet. There's one final player off the distance in misery for Pasija Evos, but I think it might just be all over for this team. In the meantime, look where Gladiators have got themselves to, all the way on that northeast side. That is one hell of a send for this team. They're going to try and lock down any squad trying to get on that northeastern side. And what a hellish, brutal, nasty old circle we've got here, where it moves down into the water, playing off that coastal edge. In some way, Gladiators move through the hail of bullets and the storm that's occurring on this northwest side to get themselves a pretty sound position, honestly.
Misery. Moving back on in, buys time to at least get the heal off as well. Meanwhile, Mad Bulls, a side that we alluded to a rough rotation for them, expecting them and Gladiators to run into one another. Instead, this is where they've ended up, moving the whole way around and getting themselves thrown into a bit of a clash. Earths and Megamind, basically in a 1v2 versus 2-licker, but look in the distance, Blank. Here comes the big dogs, Loops. They had a rough start to this game, but they weathered the storm, patched themselves back up, and they've had 6 eliminations in total since then, and they are coming in quick, looking to aggress onto Mad Bulls. It seems like they've also found an opportunity to fight versus Quest.
Al-Haji down is really bad news for them. Tunica spots out the 2 players, and there is the final frag that comes through along the way from Frozen. Takes down the final 2 from Zia there. Well done to these 2 lads. It might be pretty unlikely to get your boy Tunica back in the game, but at least you get some eliminations off the back of this one. Loops, though, have been extremely good on this side, and it's probably one of the only reasons that Gladiators are able to make their way through is they heard that fight and they heard the skirmish, and they were able to just thread that needle at the right time. So really good knowledge of what was going on in the map to make that play happen. But again, the Mad Bulls just suffer to Loops, who have a real good chokehold from the north side of the circle, even taking shots down towards the guys from Quest. It's a really rough time for this team. And Frozen, he just sends it out into the water, and he's just going to take a big old dive to survive this one out as long as possible, because you know, with the way this one's set up, with the amount of water that's currently in it, it's going to be a rough game for everyone, and teams are going to start dropping like flies.
A group of fish is a school, but a group of alter ego players, that would be called a wet alter ego at this point.
That is correct. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Quite a few of them have a nice swim.
It is a big old swim. I mean, they were swimming all the way on that southern side for a long
they've
time.
Been swimming for a while.
I imagine what they went for, because they start in Lipovka, right, is head down towards Mills Power, pick yourself up a boat, and then just swim out outside of that render distance of the game itself, and then just swim all the way in. Nice nade there from Gladiators. Kitsune takes down one of the players from Malise, and they're the players that currently have a decent compound. I think they have taken a couple knocks in turn, which they're currently remedying as best they can. Kikali from Bra, this is the team that had all odds stacked against them on this northeast side. They've managed to start clearing. This is when they can play to their best capability. They're a team that's great once they start getting that ball moving, and for the last practically 8 matches, it has been a dead standstill.
Zone moving in as well. Oh, okay. This is going to be interesting then. Let's see how this goes. Obviously, an awful lot of it basically being that blue liquid. So the H2O claiming a lot of the landmass, making it harder for these sides to have any real map geometry to play around from. The DMRs finding opportunities to strike again as well. As Misery peeks up, puts a couple of bullets down range on Bra. Will at least slow Kakali down. Leaving him lifeless on the hillside, low HP. If he wants to go for the res, his teammate will be baited in. Meanwhile, he's got to medkit himself back up as well, so won't really be able to take the fight. And this angle is being watched by Coursera, so they're aware of his positioning now. And they've got the firepower for it. Scope attached for max precision. Meanwhile, Cardozin taking a hit as well, as they actually find that adjustment there. So Bra Esports, 3 eliminations to their name, getting a little bit more out of this one. This might be where we start to say goodbye, though, to Alter Ego. It's taken them so long to arrive on land. They have been swimming for ages. Their boots are soaked. Their jeans, absolutely ruined. But they're going to try and get up on a rock face and see what they can do. Rosemary, low HP, though, Blank.
Yeah, mate, honestly, this point in time with those wet clothes or soaked clothes, it's feeling heavier and heavier getting back into this match, because I don't think they expected the circle to come this far down towards the south side. They sort of hoped this would be an open area where they could slowly move in towards the hills on that northern edge and play a more relatively fair Sosnovka circle. Last player from Pasija Evos will go down in Zuxi. That stalwart picking them up. Have been relatively quiet today, yet still putting up points here and there. You know, they got up to 96 points. They started the day on 82. It's not bad at all. And currently playing from that northeast edge. And I think when you give a little bit of space to stalwart, even if it requires them to push through teams, really hamper a lot of squads, this is where they really do thrive a lot.
how can you play around this, really? So fragmented in terms of the setup as well. And 6, he's just agitated, man.
He
knows
dude.
that he's so exposed, right? And he's just trying to find something to work with on this. Like, if I just peek you before you peek me, maybe I can make a play on this.
Certainly is that idea that he's got ants in his pants right now, and he's got crosshairs looking his way too. It's a difficult scenario for Falcons to play out this edge of the map because, like you say, it's very exposed. They still want to deal with Alter Ego, who could be moving up on their side of the map any moment. So they've really got to be on the swivel. But almost that nature of them constantly being under threat, under pressure, has allowed them to take down 2 players there over on Loop's side. Currently, Gladiator is sending the nades over towards Stalwart. It starts off well with a singular knock coming through, but no elimination found just yet.
Stalwart forced to play medic here as well, as they've got to get their teammate back up on his feet and look to see what they could do with this. Stalwart, bear in mind, are only a few points away of breaking the 100-point barrier, pushing their way into the triple digits. I believe they only need 4 more points. So we'll see just how much they can squeeze out of this game. Icy taking some heavy hits, as he will be losing a fair amount of HP on that one. So forced to give up the opportunity to peek, has to slow it down. They basically need to reset. Across the board, you can see it was a lot of damage done to the entire team of Stalwart. Taking solo peaks at a time like this, probably not going to be worth it. Meku is confident to continuously deal damage, though. He just wants to keep applying pressure onto them. Utility in the hands. That's the last grenade thrown out. Will it be a clean connection? Looking like a little sliver of damage back there onto Nerzer, but not too much to write home about. But that's instigated the fight blank. Action hits him with it. They're roaming in now. They've got confidence for this. The nades blank. They're always so on point.
And Carrillo comes up from underneath in the depths. 2 players down for Gladiators. It's all gone wrong. They knew what they need to do, which is just to hold Stalwart out for a little bit longer because they would be heading into the blue very, very shortly. There's a good spray from Nerzed. Doesn't quite take them down. A lot of smokes in play. Tops gets knocked here from CEO later on Maliz, and Icy's going to continue the charge forward. Moving in towards Matic and Kitsune, who know they want to push further into this game. This is where things are going to start to pop off. This is where you can start to ladder up just a little bit. Currently, with 0 eliminations, they'd be getting no points in this game if it goes this way.
Ooh, Bra trying their best to shut things down here. It looked unfortunate for Kane, but it does work out. Axa will be hit by the bonnet and cleaned up because of it. So they're able to at least slow down Falcons massively. 6 as well. He's been the point man, guarding the edge and stopping Alter Ego for ages, but now they finally found a way to bleed their way in.
The fact that Alter Ego's been able to get up here is pretty miraculous, honestly. Just picking their battles, picking their timings as well very nicely. And they might be able to just get a full squad back up again, but getting down towards Fnatic on that south side might be just too tough here. There is nades still available for Alter Ego, and the guys from Bra, they've got to continue to push in. So these nades could absolutely be devastated if placed correctly.
Only problem is for Alter Ego, their utility seems to be at an all-time low, apart from a few smokes, whereas it seems like from the overview right now, Bra eSports, they've got a box full of grenades, and they are launching them one after another, getting the wrist workouts in on this. Or Gladiators as well. This is a fight that's been prolonged for quite some time between them and Stalwart. It felt like Gladiators had a good grasp on it, but the longer it's gone on, you're seeing Stalwart pushing back consistently, taking more of this control towards the hillside into their favor. They're going to have a nice position to play off of. These are 2 big fights effectively. Low HP though off the back of the nade. Here we go, Blanky instigates it. A lot of damage done.
Was good from Rosemary. Damn, they're towing the line there with those nades coming across over towards Gladiators. A lot of damage done, and they might just have the information now to pop one into the direct spot that it needs to go in. Great retreat here coming from Alter Ego, backing up from the nades that have been sent over from Bra. They're hoping that Maliz or DX might try and get involved here. But Gladiators, 1 point again. That's all they'll gain on this game. From their first initial decent rotation, from a position that really felt like they shouldn't get anything off the back of it. They've not done too badly, but they won't accrue all that much. Now Stalwart knows it's just 1 player left in that ditch. They can continue to push through. They've got 2 players in the back trying to move forward, but now Alter Ego is even getting involved here.
Mafioso's armed himself as well and saw an opportunity to take the peak onto the back line of Gladiators. Of course, this has kind of given away his surprise angle, so Stalwart at least know where he is and can try and shroud themselves, make sure their backs are kept hidden from that angle towards the beach. Parajin, though, with an unexpected peek through the window, able to at least inflict a little bit of damage and make it more uncomfortable. Mafioso's back on the move as well. Matic again eats a Molotov as he's turned into a barbecue gladiator.
That's the second time they've been mollied here as well. It's so uncomfortable. Each time they've gone for the res on it as well because they know they need to have these two players if they have any hope in hell of getting themselves back into this game a little bit further. And still, yet to lose teams, yet to lose players here. Everyone's just holding in a tiny little position that has some relative safety. No real meds remaining now for the Gladiators. Got some stims on board, but that's about it. Rosemary in play. Just go down and action found here. So Malise looking over towards Stalwart. Another nasty Molotov over towards Gladiators. These guys, they're charred.
Oh, man. They're like an overcooked marshmallow right now. Going to be far too burnt. Not gooey in the middle. Not what you want to be in. Nurzed, though. You can see, even just with the way he postures himself into any of these games, he's always looking for the next encounter. He's always thinking 2 steps ahead in terms of the fights. Action, though, might have bit off a little bit more than he can chew as he's baited into the peak. Poser with a few shots down range. Here we go. Alter Ego. They've snuck the whole way up. They got into the face of Bra, but it's not going to work. The shotty does not cleave its way through them. They're finished off. Now DX feel like they're confident enough to instigate the fight versus the weakened team. So nades going over. Lamborghini ready with 4 in the back pocket. He wants to blow them to bits. We know that DX have good nades, Blank. They've always had great synergy on their timing with these double nades. Is it going to be able to obliterate Bra here?
Oh, Matic just peeks out for too long, tries to finish off the remaining players there from Stalwart, but I think he could have bided his time. They were sort of in a position that was going to lead them directly towards that end game. And instead, they only get themselves a 7th place off the back of that. Not ideal, but again, some serious resilience from these boys. Mad Bulls have just lived it out on the coast over here. They're going to be getting some serious placement points. They can keep this sort of thing up. A7 decided to completely remove themselves from the game. They've headed down towards the south side of the coast, and this is going to keep them safe for a little bit longer. Stalwart have had to deal with so many teams in their way, and this is sort of their MO, right? They're so good at controlling multiple teams at the same time, keeping relative info on absolutely everybody. So it's a scary team to come up against, and I think that they've played it wonderfully once again from one of the biggest outside positions that has so many sight lines that looks over towards it.
Oh, man. Okay, action. Straight in with a headshot. I mean, Mafioso, fair play to him in terms of the longevity he had of staying alive and just kind of being annoying in the back line there. But Alpha 7 finally go up in a puff of smoke. Action as well. It feels like he is a bit of an action hero in this one, Blank. The amount of times we've seen him knocked, losing half his HP, getting shot at, eating grenades, and still resetting, still continuing to find opportunities to punish. And Icy as well. Another pickup here, finding another knock. It really does feel like what we were seeing yesterday, where every player on STE can win individual 1v2s, 1v3s. Finally now, though, they might bit off a little bit more than they can chew, as you are seeing the combination of a lot of teams starting to push up. DX have been trying to deal with Bra for ages, and Lamborghini's nade will secure it. Huge knocks on that one. They've just got to clean up now.
Tokyo drifts right through the lot of them there. Lamborghini comes through with the M249, making a lot of noise and making a lot of room for him and the rest of his team. Stalwart from the distance, definitely taking some damage here, but certainly clearing out these teams still. Bra go down with 10 of limbs. A much better game than we've ever seen from them from the rest of this tournament. So mad props to them. Mad props to the Mad Bulls. Frozen, still alive, sat on a little bit of ice himself, just trying to keep himself up in this one. Smokes imperative as DX attempt to move through here, Jackie. Just Levi's left.
Trying their best to stay alive, but Levi's, it'll be no surprise as he goes down. Kiss You strikes and finishes him off. Action. Is he aware of this? Frozen throwing out nades. He's given the game away. He's been spotted, but it will be the zone that takes him to the grave, ending it there. Stalwart, are they coming for another chicken dinner? Will the Mongolian side be able to add to the already massive collection of wins they've had over the course of the event so far?
Battling up the hill here, up towards Malise. They're all on dead set HP now. Lewis barely breathing at this point in time, but Nerzed, he's taken out. We're into a 1v4 here with these two players underneath. Oh no, it's just Icy and Tops. So we've still got a little bit more to do. It's a little bit crazy. It's all over the place for all these players. Poser also just peeking over the edge into the abyss here. Icy tries to reposition, gets a bit of damage, but there's a knock from him over towards Poser in the process. And Malise, they just can't keep up.
The BPM that's coming out from Stalwart is far too much to handle. Blank, they're just dropping into them. It feels like they are just falling like flies right now. They cannot strike back. Forced to go into the hill. It's the zone that makes it uncomfortable though. That could be the one saving grace. They've got a lot more room to play with in terms of the map geometry as the zone closes in. It's all about healing through this. Can they actually survive this one, or will it all go wrong? It seems like they've lost it in the dying moments.
They actually are able to win it from underneath Malise eSports. I thought they were going to go down to the blue, but Icy had not had enough. He jumps backwards and on the jump, hits the shot, slams the earbud to the desk because he don't need no sound anymore because he's hearing the thunder of the chicken dinner in his ears. What a game from Stalwart. What a game from one of the difficult positions on the map, one of the most difficult positions on the map to play. And they just calmly